من ظلم علينا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الأحزان سهلا ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله صلى الله عليه وسلم. All praise be to Allah who created us and gave us sustenance. Peace and blessings be to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We pray for Allah to guide us. Whatever we want to do is easy for us. Amen.
Aktabir. Aktabir. As I earlier on indicated, we are here to officially make a position with regards to the happenings that actually goes on when it happens to be for members who travel to Mecca to perform their holy rites. Without wasting much of our time, we'll call on the President, Al-Haji Haruna Mohammed, to do the presentation as earlier indicated for us. Thank you.
For which reason I welcome all of you this morning. To start with, I would like to say that PMF, as I indicated earlier on, has been in existence for the past 10 years, if I should say. And we are going to do as we always do. And so, to say these issues we are here for which reason are largely on Hajj issues. But to say, or to start with, I would like to introduce PMF, which is the coalition of young Muslims, intellectuals, politicians, and students whose sole purpose is the advancement of the cause of Islam in the context of religious pluralism, the need for peace and security, and above all, the signification of Islam. PMF, as I rightly indicated, is been in existence for a very long time, who have always engaged in the references of religious coexistence and the demand for accountability from the Muslim leaders and encouraging Muslim youth to be ambassadors of righteousness. Having said all this, we have observed the manner in which pilgrimage to Mecca has been organized in the last few years and the upward adjustment of the fares in which has generated a lot of debates with the PMF calling for its reduction. Quite frankly, if you ask me, many Ghanaian Muslims whose ambition of going to have a sponsors or to sponsor their loved ones, is being threatened by this development. Unfortunately, however, the value for money remains constant as the rise of the fares keep going up. Ladies and gentlemen, investigations by PMF revealed that the fares primarily jacked up by prevailing factors, including exchange rate. But for the first time in 9 years, the total package in 2022 went up by 100%, from 19,500 to 39,000 Ghana cedis. According to the 9-year data on Hajj fares analyzed by PMF, cost of exchange rate is the major contributing factor. PMF analysis on official documents from Hajj board showed that there were no significant changes of the dollar component of the Hajj fares in the last 6 years. In 2013, for instance, the Hajj fares or Hajj package was $3,450 United US dollars, which became 5,800 at the exchange rate of 2.01 to a dollar. In 2014, it ran same. The package was for 3,450, which translated into 9,900 at the exchange rate of 3 to a dollar. So in this case, if you look at it briefly, you realize that the same dollar with different value in exchange, which is that 3,450 in 2013, and in 2014 it's risen from 6,800 to 9,900, which the dollar remained constant. In 2015, however, the package remained unchanged. It was the same $3,450, which again translated into 11,900 at the exchange rate of 3.92 a dollar. Again, in 2017 and 2016, the package remains same, 3,450, which again translated into 11,900 at the exchange rate of 3.9 to a dollar. So in this instance, you realize again that the changes effect on the Cedi to dollar was that there was this kind of increment in terms of the dollar exchange, which again 2015-2016, because of the absorption of the difference, that is the differential, the dollar differential, government decided to show up the difference so that the value would remain the same, 3,400 to 11,900 in 2015, and in 2016 it remained the same, 11,900. But it did not mean that the value to a dollar as an exchange rate was the same as we tried to analyze. So you realize that in 2017 the package was 3,450, which became 15,000. Again, if you convert it 15,000 to 3,450 as at the time, which the prevailing exchange rate was 4 cedis 40 pesos as at the time. If you do the mathematics, you will understand that just as I'm explaining, it's the same. The value still the same, but the dollar, but the Cedi keep depreciating. So in this effect, we are trying to analyze, let people understand that the cost of Hajj is not coming from anywhere but the Cedi depreciation. And who is responsible? It is the government of the day, whose responsibility is that they should make sure that the Cedi to a dollar is, arrested and contained to the extent that people could afford. That is the pilgrimage in this context. So in 2018, the package slightly rose to $3,500, translating into 19,500 at the exchange rate of 5.3 to a dollar. The same analysis, 5.3 to a dollar, if you look at it, and which at the time, for the first time in 9 years, the dollar remained constant, but it's risen from 3,450 to 3,500. And in this case, if you look at the exchange rate as at that time was 5.30 to a dollar, and it's risen from 15,000 to 19,500. And again, in 2019, it was maintained the same 3,500, which again translated into 19,500, was shown up by governments. There was that, Cedi differential absorption by government, because if you convert it, the dollar again and the Cedi again depreciated, and there was that need for government to intervene. Now, fast forward, because of the world pandemic, as we do know, which is the COVID-19, did not permit people to travel outside their own countries, for which reason we did not embark on pilgrimage 2020 and 2021. And so there was no activity for that matter. And fast forward, looking at 19,500 to 39,000 Ghana cedis in 2022, which is this year, 2022, the dollar rate that we paid was $5,000. And because of the depreciation of the Cedi, we paid an equivalent of 39,000 Ghana cedis, which in actual fact was 100% increment. And in the history of the activities of Hajj, it has never happened. So the question is, who is responsible for this? And that is why PMF is doing this today, for the entire Ghanaians to understand and analyze or rationalize with us, to knowing why this keep rising. Yes, if you look at the 39,000, which was translated into 5,000 US dollars, despite the economic challenges, pilgrims still paid higher than they paid in 2019. This means that if the current prevailing exchange rate of 14.70 to a dollar remain constant in 2023, assuming that it remained constant, do the multiplication. If you do the multiplication, nobody will tell you why the dollar is the Cedi jacked up the rates, because if you consider 5,000 in 2022, which was 39,000 Ghana cedis, somewhere in March, somewhere in January downwards, and fast forward in December, you're looking at 14.70 to a dollar, 5,000. Even if we are paying 5,000 next year, which is 2023, and all being equal, 14.70 at the prevailing rate. If you do the multiplication, you are talking about over 70,000 Ghana cedis. So now who costs up? That's the question we ask. Who is responsible for this upward adjustment? That's the question PMF is asking. Let's look at the info we have got. The package will shoot up by 100% again. If you look at if you take off the analysis that we are making, that's the multiplication of the dollar to a Cedi or Cedi to a dollar. It is also going to be 100% or over 100%. So the cost of the major component of the Hajj package, which includes the first Makkah in Medina, Makkah and Medina accommodation, transportation, and United agent fees, have also been increased slightly, which automatically will affect the package for 2023. Yes, of course, if you look at the world economic situation, I don't think that the Saudi is isolated from the challenges of COVID-19. Therefore, they have also taken into consideration of certain factors that will drive the increment of their facilities, which is just what I mentioned, the accommodation, the transport, and what have you. And so everything that happens in Mecca means dollar, because you will have to use dollar to do whatever business you want to do in Saudi. And so if they are charging us in dollar, it means few of us will be chasing dollar to be able to. So if you multiply, let's say 5,000 to over 3,000 pilgrims who will be embarking on next year Hajj, assuming. So multiply that, you would agree with me the amount of money pilgrims that will be chasing dollar at that time. And so looking at the current situation, do we have the ability to show up? The question is yes. If we do, then of course government will have to come in and make sure that the dollar to the Cedi or the Cedi to the dollar is arrested as soon as possible. Again, we don't want to speculate, but we are reliably informed that the 2023 Hajj package will be increasing from $5,000 to $7,500. Yes, that's the argument. They said that is the win we got, that the next year Hajj would be increased from $5,000 to $7,500. We are making this to the public. We are creating this awareness that this is what we are expecting, and that if they do, we will come back again through the media to let people understand why we are coming back. Because if it is indeed 7,500, multiply 14.7, we are going to get over 100,000 Ghana cedis. Are we able to do it? That's the question. If they bring it to 7,500 and we are, which will translate into over 100,000, that alone is going to prevent a lot of people from going to Hajj. Bear in mind, Hajj is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, but it is not incumbent on the poor. Let's get this clear. Hajj is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, but it is not incumbent on you if you cannot afford. Therefore, the idea that government comes in to pay for pilgrims to go, government is sponsoring people to go and pray, government is doing all those things. The fact is, if you cannot afford, it is not by force. So do not ridicule the profession called Islam. Because if you are a practicing Muslim and you know it as it is, for somebody to pay for you but under duress means you don't have Hajj. Because I'm not sure the government would willingly pay this amount of money for everybody, for every Muslim to go. And so, in as much as some of us disagree, and I am speaking from the position of PMF, that government using taxpayer money to sponsor pilgrimage to Hajj, we do not support it. However, it is imperative on the government to make sure that the dollar, which is one of the major components when it comes to Hajj activities, is brought down to the barest minimum, so that some of us who want to sponsor our people, some of us who want to pay for my mother, my father, my sibling, or whoever, I am able to pay without any complaints. So, going forward, as I speculated, the depreciation or the prevailing factors aforementioned is taken into account. In effect, if we are saying that the 7,500 is going to remain constant, 7,500 is going to be what we are charged, and I did the calculation of 100,000. The pilgrims will be taken off their spiritual rights, even if you could afford, which for us is the government who is to be held responsible if the dollar remains constant at 14.7. Friends from the media, of the data shows that the upward adjustment of the package is largely influenced by prevailing exchange rate, which in most cases government subsidize or intervene for the board to negotiate a favorable exchange rate for the Hajj activities to help make the trip affordable. Ladies and gentlemen, in as much as we oppose the subsidy of the Hajj pilgrimage, it is equally imperative for the government to acknowledge the fact that pilgrimage or pilgrims are helpless when it comes to monetary forex policies. However, from the media, friends from the media, if not for the exchange rate, Hajj fares would have been lower and affordable like other jurisdictions, unlike the other jurisdictions. In the spirit of this argument, Muslim Ummah through PMF is appealing to the government to make sure and to take responsibility of arresting the dollar in order to make pilgrimage to Mecca 2023 affordable. We are calling on the government to be responsible so that those of us, I am repeating this, those of us who want to pay for our loved ones are able to pay without hassle, because we have the money. If it is like in the past, we all know Aladi here has stayed in Saudi before. I have been to Mecca severally, and I have seen what is happening out there. That the dollar, if the dollar is 1 to a riyal, 5, 6, 7, 8 years is still $1 riyal to a dollar, 1 riyal to a dollar in Saudi. And that I know that you take 350 riyals, you are getting $100. As at 2012 that I went to Mecca, and you go there today, it's still 350 riyals to a dollar. So what has changed? What is our crime in this country? Is it a crime being a Ghanaian? That's the question we are asking. If indeed others can do it, why can't we do the same? We are saying that the government should not hide behind we are sponsoring Hajj and making Hajj pilgrimage unbearable for us. The government should take off we don't need his subsidy, but he should be responsible for bringing down the exchange rate to the barest minimum so that I can afford. But if you say, oh, the dollar will show it up, we'll do that, we'll do this, it means that it is only fair to every Ghanaian, not to only Muslims. Because the law is that you do not use public funds to sponsor any religious body. That's the law. It is in the law book that government should not use public funds to sponsor any religious groups. Therefore, if government says that it's coming in to support pilgrimage, it's coming in to sponsor Hajj affairs, and it is in the form of shoring up the difference, or the Cedi, or facilitating the dollar differentials so that we can get it cheaper, that is his responsibility as government, but not to say they are sponsoring Hajj. And that is what PMF is here to discount. And that whatever fares that is brought out, government should be responsible because it is quoted in terms of dollar. Because whatever component out there is being purchased in the name of dollar, in the name of Cedi, and the Cedi is falling like a tree that has lost its grounds. Ladies and gentlemen, as I indicated, it is imperative for the government to acknowledge the fact that pilgrims are helpless when it comes to the monetary forex policy. In the spirit of this argument, Muslims Ummah through PMF is appealing to government to arrest the dollar as early as possible before 2023. Otherwise, government knows what the Muslim Ummah can do. We will rise to the equation. We will demonstrate that this current government has failed woefully for making Hajj pilgrimage unbearable for Muslim Ummah in this country. Hajj package will be announced later next year, as we do know. But we would wish to recommend that the package is announced ahead of time in order to give more window for intending pilgrims to adequately prepare for payments. Ladies and gentlemen, I would only say thank you so much for coming. I would thank my colleagues from PMF and the media for making this occasion a success. Thank you so much.
Kode ke ni member ne cikin Patriotic Muslim Front. To kode ke dai a gurguje dai abin da muke nufi shine in dai gwamnati zai taimaka ma aji ko dai ya subsidy. To subsidy ne shine ba mu so mu fi son da taimaka da dollar da je kasa saboda kowa ya samu sauki. Amma mu musulmai za mu je haji in gwamnati zai fi da kudin kasa ya taimaka ma. To wasu kuma akwai addinai daban-daban da su ma sun ce kamar su ma a taimaka musu. To haka dai zai kawo damuwa. Kuma ban samani kamar akwai dama cikin dokan kasa kamar a taimaka ma addinai ba, amma an ya taimaka ma dai neman ilimi zuwa gaba, amma fi da kudi a taimaka musulmi zuwa wurin haji ne. To muna ga wannan bai zaje ba. Kawai su ce za su Jerusalem su ma ba su kudi, masu bautan turu kuma ce za su India su ma sha ba su kudi, amma a taimaka da yadda dai dollar zai zo kasa. To in dollar ya zo ta ka taimaka zai mamu duka, ba zai zabi wasu bangare daban ya taimaka musu ba, kuma zai ya sa ma aje hajin da yawa. Kila wani na yana arziki zai yake mutane kamar 5 ko 6. To amma in dai dollar nan yayi yawa nan, kila mutane 2 ce ko mutane 3, wanda kuma zai kai mutane 10 ya kai mutane 10 ko mutane, wanda kuma zai kai mutane 2 kuma ne. Sai sa muna so a taimaka dollar ya je kasa, in ya so a samu a taimaka kowa ya je haji ya ci abinci da kwana hotel ya kuma mutum a saki. Shi assalamu alaikum. To in dai in ya zama haka dai, ai dama muna jin cikin jarida ko ba muna ganin cikin jarida, muna jin TV kama ana ce ana doka mataki economy na yayi beta. To in dai ya haka da min economy yayi beta gaskiya mu da su suke fari na, to muna fata ce waya zo kasa. Amma wani economy bai zo ba, to we take them by their ways. Abinda kamar ce a to wani kai kace kamar economy yayi beta, kuma gashi nan mun gira mun yi jiki mun hankuri yanzu bai daidai ba, don shi sannan za a zauna ya tuwa shi kamar to yanzu ya zamu yi. Kaman kana tare da matan ko baka ba, tana bukata kace ta kwanta ka bata har ka bata dis kace ya shigo, she ta gani kan bata, don shi ita ta doka mataki ne ta ganka mu yafi so, in mata ke ka wurin manyan bata ya kuma ta tafiya ta zubi magana sosai. Amma ka gani abin da ya kamata, abin da ya zama to kaman politics ya shiga cikin yana da wuya, saboda bature ya ce putting square pegs in round holes, because they want to maybe achieve some aims which are not which will not benefit the public. That's why for individual aims. In ba haka bare ya kamata da Hajj board na ana da professionals and teachers wanda suka san travel system, hotel accommodation, all this kaga ne aka nako su suna ne permanent. They are not for any political affiliation. In your soon za su organize one abu kan yeso if they need some small hands and she so are employ wasu mutane kada suka da requisite knowledge about all this yeso kare zama politically oriented. Then za fi da wannan ya taimake mu.
Tupura ngwampurge duniya za gwamnati ka to suhuna tare gana gwamnati nuku pahan suru dole sama ngondu shema lukpa mu manga ka dole sama da can tangana bela so that da bilu kam za yi yina nu bela unto nyanga nan bela kan ka tara ku bo to suhun to gwamnati ka dole sama ngon can shema halle din joba dika dole sama can tanga no ni rupam kunyanga nan wala inna haji so kan ka to ku suhun to gwamnati so da yana ka cel kan ne identity